Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the pre-market prep session for September 20th, 2024. I'm your host, as always, Adam Collins, stock options expert market strategist, and we're here to finish off this week on a high note. Not too much movement that we got here yesterday, but looking to see if we can, get a nice and impactful weekly close. All eyes are on, what the market chooses to continue to do here now that we've gotten this rate cut. We got some, move up overnight, and we've got some move down overnight this morning. So market's still figuring itself out, trying to figure out exactly, what all this information means and how to parse through it. And that's what we're here to do each and every day. Go through this information, go through the news, go through the notes, analyze everything, see exactly how it is we should break it down in order to make sure that we can use its position for our best good, right? Which is what we're here to do each and every day. So make sure you throw those ones in the chat signifying your intention to get 1% better. That's what we do during these sessions. And I'm excited to dive in, right? I'm excited to dive in. It's always fun to be able to look around and see if there's a lot going on and then say, okay, there's a lot to parse through. Let's do it, right? Let's put this thing between our ears to work. Let's put the system that we put, countless hours of blood, sweat, and tears into. Let's put that to work, and let's prove that, we're worthy of drawing, breath on this earth. There are plenty of people that didn't wake up this morning. So any problem, right, that I have to face, really any challenge, any obstacle, I'm honored to do so. So, and I wouldn't rather have a different group of people than all you guys here this morning, because who you're around matters. Who you have to keep you accountable matters. What you do in terms of making sure that you're up to task matters. And that's why, it was so awesome being there for day 4 of the Liberated Soul Challenge yesterday, and just being involved in things that just draw the best you out, because mindfulness is so important, and understanding what trauma you have that you hold on to that stops you from reaching that next level is so important, because no matter what levels we reach in life, you reach some plateau. And oftentimes, really 9 times out of 10, you don't beat that plateau unless you tear down some wall internally, some limiting belief, um, some lack of accountability. Until you can tear that down, you don't break through to that next level. And I never want to plateau. I never want to become stagnant. I never want to feel like I'm not living this life to the fullest. And there's so much of this trading game that's mental, so much of it, like the overwhelming majority of it. So I'm excited, for what this day has to offer. I'm excited for that community there, and I'm excited for this community. As we're all really like integrated, we're all aiming for the same thing: a shift to the paradigm where finance is concerned, but also just in general thriving as human beings that have to face everything that we have to face nowadays in 2024. It's much easier to do it together, because a lot of people don't have a lot of help nowadays, right? And people, often say, I don't know better. I don't have anybody around me that's doing this. The beautiful thing about the internet age is that you can create any community you want. You can be a part of any community you want. So if your family isn't into the same stuff you're into, you don't have to limit yourself to what they're doing, right? That's an excuse. Find a community that's doing what you're doing, right? Find someone that makes breakthrough the norm. That's what you want. I want people around me that make breakthroughs the norm, right? I feel weird if I'm not sticking to my morning routine, right? Sticking to my confessions, sticking to my prayers, sticking to my affirmations, sticking to my fitness goals, right? You want people around that push you to be your best self. And the amazing thing is you can control that. And we just have to actively control it, actively control where we put our attention, where we put our energy. And that gets reciprocated back to us, right? The law of attraction. Be around what you want to be, soak it all in, soak in those habits, and you can literally rewire your brain. But I refuse to believe that there's anything that I can't do. I refuse to believe it, straight up. Because anything you can train your brain to do. You want to be nicer, you want to be more patient, right? Anything that you want to do better at, you can train yourself to do. And you can absolutely, smash through any limiting beliefs that you have and really do the most that you can do with this life that you do have. So while we're getting a little existential this morning, that's how markets are, right? Because every time you go and you try and place a trade and you do this and you do that, you're looking yourself, your bare self, right? All the facade stripped down. You're looking yourself in the mirror. and having to work with yourself each and every day. And a lot of people don't do that well because they don't have a great relationship with self. So if you're someone who struggles with markets, it might be because you're struggling with your relationship to self, right? The respect that you have for yourself, um, the respect that you have for your dreams, your goals. Figure out what those subconscious, walls are, and tear them down. Because it's our job as an adult to make sure that we don't stay broken, even if there are other people that did the breaking. So talking in more of a metaphysical mindset, standpoint here this morning as we go into markets, but that's so much more important than what stock looks good. Where do I get in? Where do I get out? Because you managing all of that is actually how you get paid, right? If you're too scared to get in, you're too undisciplined to get out, you're too undisciplined to set up your charts, right? All of that ends up being matters of the heart. Why can't you bring yourself to do that? It's because you don't think deep down you deserve it. It's a huge thing with people. So figuring that out is big, and that's my advice. As we kind of head into this weekend, is put yourself in environments where you cannot help but get better, and you don't even understand the type of doors that will open, and they continue to open for me, and that's why being in those environments is so big for me, because I want to continue to experience, that breakthrough. And it's a great thing, right? It's a great thing. So, difficult conversations to have. Not a lot of people want to talk about that type of stuff, but it's the type of stuff we're talking about. So I'm happy to take a few minutes to do so this morning. Now, let's get into our top news here. Lower for longer. While the term transitory has fallen out of favor with the Fed, the word recalibrate is now in vogue. He's got a new word, people. Watch out. Jerome Powell got a new word. Chair Jerome Powell used the expression a total of 10 times during his post-meeting press conference on Wednesday, and the markets are just loving it. Sometimes some time was needed to digest the new phrase, but it seems that it'll be one to add to the central bank lexicon going forward. So he's got a new word. Translation: the Fed's past policy stance is being recalibrated to lower for longer to support the labor market and economic growth. As long as inflation doesn't resurface, the easing cycle should continue through 2026 and beyond. The accommodative stance is unleashing some animal spirits, with bullish forces igniting hopes for a soft landing, healthy corporate profits, and resurgent growth. Risk assets responded in kind on Thursday and then some. The Dow Jones Industrial Average hit 42,000 for the first time in its history. The S&P 500 scored its 39th record close of the year, and the year-to-date gains for the Nasdaq Composite also returned to 20%, fueled by a rally in tech. Economic data on the labor market further boosted sentiment, with the number of Americans filing for initial jobless claims falling to its lowest level since May. In terms of seeking alpha commentary, quote, in my view, this is great for markets, said Victor Durganov, investing group leader of the Financial Profit. Quote, it states that the Fed is serious about supporting the market. In a sense, the Fed is put back, which is excellent for high quality stocks and other risk assets advancing from here. However, we must avoid a significant reversal. Also, it's crucial that the market focuses on the positives and doesn't panic because the Fed brought the bazooka out. That's the big thing, right? Because again, I talked about this yesterday. People are kind of trying to figure out, okay, did they do the 50 basis point? Because they seemed very much against it. Did they do it because they waited too long to cut? Or did they do it because it was just the best thing for markets? That's the big question. And I think that's what markets are trying to parse through. And at first, we did not have a bullish reaction to it. We had a bearish reaction to it the day it happened. Then overnight, we move up. Then, coming into today, overnight, we move down. So it's like I feel like the market is still trying to figure out exactly what it wants to take away from what the Fed said, but we have our levels and we have our system and we have our setup. So luckily it's very cut and dry when it comes to exactly what it is, we're looking at that will determine what decisions we make moving forward when it comes to markets. So it's a very nice and fortunate place to be in. And if you're not there, where you can look at a chart and you immediately have a game plan to know where to position your money and where to take it out for profit. Also, where to cut for loss because you will inevitably lose trades. It's the one thing that's guaranteed. But the system makes sure that you win more, that you lose, you win in a larger amount, right? And that you can stay consistent over time. That's the key. So if you're not doing any of those things and you're just kind of watching the world happen around you, but you're not making anything happen for you, email me, adam@adamhollandeducates.com. Subject line trade. Let's get to work. It's as simple as that. But at this point, we're 9 months through the year, right? 2024 flew by. What are you going to do with the last 3 months, 2 months that we have left. Um, there is still significant time, right? You've got a quarter of the year left. What are you going to do with it? Plenty of time for you to get done in one quarter what you didn't get done for 3 quarters, but it takes execution. Opportunity can only meet you in motion. So let's get moving, baby. Now, consumer news, new sneakers. Nike turned some heads by announcing that its CEO, John Donahoe, will step down and be replaced by retired insider Elliott Hill. They're just bringing all the old CEOs back because the new CEOs just have no means of innovation. Hill spent his career at Nike in various senior leadership positions across Europe and North America, and then he retired following his role as president of consumer and marketplace in 2020. The news sent Nike shares soaring another 7.6% after hours on Thursday, with investors appearing confident in Hill's leadership as the footwear giant faces profit volatility, guidance shortcomings, competition headwinds, and a lack of strategic long term clarity. Yeah, I think consumers are changing and what's happening is changing. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. Nike just has a stark shortcoming when it comes to innovation. They haven't made anything fun, anything new, anything cool. It's been retro this, return of that, because the only thing that they're dropping are classics, right? Old classics. Those are the only things that people still like. None of the new things people vibe with. And that's an issue that Nike has got to get over. But we're also in a time in which people, in times of economic hardship, people love looking back to the past during rosier times, right? Times they remember with rose-colored glasses. That's why you see a lot of remixes of old songs or a lot of old songs, resurging is because people are looking to the past because they don't want to hear about what's going on presently because they don't like that, right? Music, fashion, a lot of it is a form of escapism. And you see that very clearly here with Nike, with none of their new stuff being liked and really just all of the old classic stuff being the only thing that people touch. And I feel like people too are more people like niche brands that are smaller that they love and that they have emotional resonance with and that they feel some attachment to, and that's not Nike. So Nike's got to figure out how to niche down, and maybe it comes down to collaborations, like micro collaborations, right? How about you go around and figure out who are these heroes in certain areas of America, right? What is the demographic that you need to strike it big with, right? Who are the people um that do it best in that arena? Maybe you turn away from athletic shoes and you might start making more leisure shoes, but the leisure shoes are in collaboration with people that, are huge streamers, right? Or are, Gen Z music artists or whatever, content creators, right? Start getting to people, start making yourself more relatable, make yourself more relatable and do collaborations that are more localized, but ones that feel more genuine than you just cranking out random big wig shoes. In terms of media news, compromised comms. Need some tea this morning. Disney, ticker DIS, will stop using corporate messaging platform Slack, ticker CRM, following a cyber attack in which more than a terabyte of the company's data was leaked online. This is the issue, right? Even when you talk about the stock options made easy community, there's always like different considerations that I have, regarding like, okay, moving to this platform or moving to that platform. But the cyber attacks are so bad. And at least I know like on Facebook, people are very like used to it and aware of dealing with Facebook. So you have an account that randomly messages you talking about random stuff, like you're like you understand that. I feel like people understand how to deal with Facebook. When you get into like a Slack and other things, and Slack was something that I was, looking at seriously, it's just tough because like same thing with Discord, such horrible hacks. And they're not like casual hacks. They're like significant hacks that happen through Discord and Slack. And it's just like it's tough to take your community anywhere without feeling like you're putting it at risk. In Slack, showing this exact issue here, and that's why Disney is completely pulling out of using them. The data from thousands of Disney Slack channels contained discussions about ad campaigns and studio technology, which were exposed by hacker group No Bulge. Many teams have already started to transition to streamlined enterprise-wide collaboration tools, according to an internal memo, with most of Disney's businesses expected to stop using the service later this year. I mean, people kind of blew up at CrowdStrike, but cybersecurity probably the most important industry as of right now, because that's how all war is waged now, online, using data, using information. And unfortunately, it's much more profitable if you have those skills to use them on the opposite side of the law than it is to uphold the law. And that's why you kind of got this game of catch up. It's being played between cyber terrorists and cybersecurity experts. In terms of earnings news, we understand question mark in its latest quarterly results. FedEx missed Q1 expectations and dropped its outlook for fiscal year 25, dragging shares 11% lower after hours on Thursday. The package delivery behemoth blamed reduced demand for priority services, constrained yield growth, as well as higher operating expenses. The dimmed outlook will likely end a 9-day winning streak when the stock opens for regular trading today and reflects a very competitive pricing environment and challenging industrial economy. Rival UPS, ticker UPS shares also fell 2.4% after hours following the results. Now, in terms of today's markets, mixed bag in Asia, Japan up 1.5%, Hong Kong up 1.4%, China flat, India up 1.6%. London down 0.4, Paris down 0.7, Frankfurt down 0.7, the Dow up 0.1, S&P down 0.3, Nasdaq down 0.5, crude down 0.5%, gold up 0.9%, Bitcoin up 2.1%. What else is happening? Darden, ticker DRI, rallies on earnings. Uber, Olive Garden partnership. Uber and Olive Garden, the collab the world never thought they needed. OpenAI funding round in final stages. Investor list soon finalized. BOJ, Bank of Japan, keeps interest rates steady as expected. Target CFO hire sparks intrigue at PepsiCo and Celsius. Uh, Buffett's Berkshire continues to trim stake of B of A, Bank of America. Lightest fall maintenance season for U.S. refineries in 3 years. Mobileye surges as Intel has no plans to divest stake. Ford, ticker F, faces strike threat at tool and die plant in Michigan. More unionization, right, as that trend continues and shows no signs of waning. Warner Music, ticker WMG, to lay off more employees in restructuring drive. And then Societe Generale, I think is how you pronounce it, or Societe Generale, how 4 election outcomes could impact markets. So that'll wrap us up. Put a bow on it here for this week and this morning, September 20th, 2024. We've got fun things happening in markets. This is going to be an exciting weekly close. Let's see what the market has for us, right? Which could decide whether or not we position for more upside or position for downside. And if you don't know how to tell the difference, you already know. Email me, adam@adamhollandeducates.com. Let's do it. Let's close the gap between where we are and where we want to be. Let's get 1% better here today. This weekend, I encourage you to earn it, right? Wake up whatever time you normally wake up for work if you can, right? Get a little bit of mindfulness work in, get a little bit of stock market work in, a little AI education in, do whatever you can, right, to gain that little edge and earn the day that you take off. If you want to rot, cool. Get in an hour, 2 hours of work before you go to rot, watch Netflix all day. And that way you can at least rot in peace. Right. So everybody have a great rest of the day. I'll see y'all back here Monday morning, nice and early for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one, beautiful people, and a great weekend. Peace.